welcome to the Actual Tech Media EcoCast. My name is Jess and I am excited to be here with you all today. But before we jump into our content, I have some basic information that I want to cover with you. All right, let's kick off our day here today by taking a quick tour of your audience console. And we're going to start with the questions window. So if you haven't already said hi, there is a whole audience of cool humans out there, so reach out and give a wave to the other members of the Actual Tech Media community. Now, keep in mind that if you do have any technical issues today, a browser refresh is going to fix just about anything. But if those tech gremlins are clinging on today, no problem. Just throw a comment in the question section and our crew will be there to help. We also want this to be an informative webinar for you, so throughout today's EcoCast, we hope you'll get engaged and ask all your burning questions. Not only will we have team members responding to you over a live chat, we will also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of our presentations. Now, if we don't get to your question during the live webinar today, don't worry, because the awesome experts that we have here with us will be following up after we wrap. All right, next up, there's going to be lots of cool aha moments on the EcoCast today. And if you want to share those with your community, we've made it nice and easy for you. You can use the Twitter button right there in your audience console, and the hashtag for today's EcoCast will be automatically added to your post. All right, our last stop on this guided tour, be sure to check out the handouts tab for some awesome resources and takeaways from our speakers here today. We have an info pack collection, solution briefs, white papers, data sheets, free trials, ebooks, upcoming webinars, and more. So many great resources, so be sure to go explore. Now, if that wasn't enough fun, we also have some exciting prizes that we'll be giving away throughout today's EcoCast. I'm going to tell you a bit more about those later on, but a few quick reminders for you all. First, you do need to be here live in attendance at the EcoCast in order to qualify to win a prize, and we will follow up with all of you after we wrap. Now, all winners must submit an IRS Form W-9 to Actual Tech Media, and all winners must meet the Actual Tech Media prize terms and conditions. Now, if you don't know what those full T's and C's are, that's fine. We've got the full thing for you. Just head on over to that handouts tab, click in, scroll down to the bottom, and you'll find them waiting for you there. Now, the absolute most important thing to remember is that we love getting all your insightful questions during these live webinars. In fact, we love it so much that we actually have a special additional prize for all you inquisitive folks out there. So in today's EcoCast, we will be giving away a prize for the best question asked in each of our live sessions. Now, the expert speakers and teams will review all questions asked after we wrap the webinar, which means that even if your question does not get read out in a live session, there is still a chance to win. If you are a lucky winner here today and you would like to donate the value of your prize, we have several wonderful organizations that we partner with. So let us know when we follow up about your big win, and we'll get that rolling for you. Again, we are so happy to have you all here with us live at the EcoCast today, and we want to keep that good feeling going, so let's connect on social media. Reach out and connect with Actual Tech Media on Twitter and on LinkedIn. We have lots of great content, and we always want to hear from you. Now, if you're looking for more awesome content and resources right after we wrap the EcoCast today, be sure to subscribe to the Actual Tech Media channel on YouTube. Another fun way to win a prize and, hey, grow this awesome community is to refer an industry friend or a coworker to the Actual Tech Media webinar series. Now, you'll find a link to do that right in your handouts tab, and you will also be automatically redirected at the end of the webinar. And both you and your coworker or friend could win a prize, and we hold those drawings every month. So be sure to refer a friend because, it could quite literally be a win-win situation. Next, we have a cool opportunity for all the decision makers out there to get connected with new and emerging tech and innovative vendors. Here's how it works. All you need to do is click on the link in your handouts tab, fill out a quick application, and the Actual Tech crew will then match you with some vendors that we think you should probably be chatting with based on your needs. There will also be fun opportunities that you get to choose to join in, like surveys, test runs, new solutions, extended demos, and so on. You'll get some chances to win extra prizes, you'll chat with great people, and you'll learn about the hottest new trends in tech. So be sure to apply, or hey, send that link to a decision maker on your team. Now, I want to take a quick minute here to remind you all about one of my favorite resources, and that is ransomware.org. You can find out everything you need to know about ransomware, how to prepare, prevent, and recover. This site is jam-packed with information, helpful tips, checklists, strategic approaches, case studies, everything you need in one place. So wherever you are in your ransomware preparedness journey, there is something for you at ransomware.org. Go check it out and start exploring. All right, I have one more exciting resource I have to tell you about today, and that is the Gorilla Guide Book Club. It's going to give you access to free enterprise IT books authored by top industry experts, so you can stay up to date on trending enterprise technology. And yes, these books will work on your Kindle, your mobile device, and as I said, they are completely free. You can download these awesome resources at gorilla.guide, and there's a link for you in that Handouts tab as well. All right, well, we have covered a lot of important things already, and I don't know about you all, but I am excited to dive in. So let's get going.
Supporting, improving, and securing public sector and education, IT, and cloud. You heard from Jess Steinbach earlier, and our other great moderator who is not with us today is Scott Becker. So at the end of this webinar event, we will be awarding three $300 Amazon gift cards to 3 lucky registrants, and you must be in attendance during the entire live event to qualify for the prize. Now, to set the table for today's presentation, I've created a video to introduce you to some of the concerns surrounding today's topic. So let's take a look at that. Government and education at all levels have special concerns when it comes to their IT needs, concerns that other sectors may not face. So today I want to go over some of the challenges. It starts, as it so often does, with budgets. The budgetary constraints in these fields are legendary. Budgets start small, and typically they only get smaller rather than larger. Do more with less, admins and other IT workers are told. Or, sorry, our budget for the next fiscal year has been slashed, is another common refrain that many of you, if not most of you, have heard. So fewer employees is the most common result. But also money for software, training, and other essentials are also frequently on the chopping block when budgets get cut. Another huge area of concern for these two particular fields is security. Security is an area, in fact, that's especially vulnerable for government and education. Their vast amounts of private information make them juicy targets for the black hats out there. As you well know, ransomware attacks against schools and governments, and even entities nowadays as large as entire sovereign nations, are commonplace. Not a week goes by without a news story about a college or city that's been victimized by ransomware. These situations are only aggravated by the proliferation of mobile computing and work from home. And that means there are more devices on the network than ever before. That means a number of things. More endpoints to secure, right? More third-party suppliers that have access to your stuff. More data in the cloud, including private data, including data with special rules and regulations of the kind that education and governments routinely have. So, in short, the attack surface has grown so large that it almost seems impossible to protect it all. But protect it you must, and usually with severely limited resources of the type that we've already talked about. So, these and other factors basically require the use of the cloud these days for organizations of almost any size. It really doesn't matter how large or small you are anymore. The cloud offers economies of scale that on-premises only solutions have a hard time matching. They also have offerings like software as a service, platform as a service, infrastructure as a service. These sorts of things help offload much of the burden on already overworked staffs. So the cloud generally is great, and it's something that everyone needs to be thinking about moving to if you're not already there. But that is not a panacea either. The cloud also has its challenges. So understanding at the beginning what you want to do with it is essential. It's easy in the cloud for costs to get out of control and to think that cloud providers do some things that they don't, like, for instance, protecting your data. You all know the stories about repatriation, about taking workloads out of the cloud, putting it back on premises because they didn't think it through. This is a more and more common scenario these days. So in summary, the public sector and education do have unique challenges when it comes to making IT operations efficient cost-effective, and secure. Now, don't get depressed. This doesn't mean it can't be done, because it can. What it does do, however, is it requires careful planning and deployment and attention to detail. And you've got to keep on top of it at all times. So what am I saying here? Well, really, it comes down to this. Do your homework. Know what's coming. Know what you need. Know the advantages and disadvantages of each step you're going to take, of each solution that you're looking at. Do all of these things, plan properly, and you may just get an A+ at the end of the day. Our problems are behind us, our technical problems. I really appreciate everyone hanging on through all of that. Now, given the context of the video that you just watched, we have a poll question for you. What is your time frame for adding new or updating existing IT solutions at your company? Are you about ready to do it now? Are you in short or long-term planning for it? Please weigh in on your current schedule. We've got you voting now, and it looks like a lot of you are still unsure. A lot of you are still a couple years out. So that's really good to know where you are. That's very useful information. Keep on voting and let us know exactly what is going on with you and your and where you are at in your in getting new or updating your existing IT stuff. Got a few more seconds while I get ready to introduce we get ready to go on to the main event, which is where we're going to go now. Joining us today is Shrija Moharur, an inside sales engineer with Rubrik, who's going to drop some knowledge on us. And we have a surprise guest. Jess is going to be back with us again for the Q&A at the end of the presentation. So Shrija, the ball is in your court. Please take it away.
Thank you so much for having me. Perfect. So I hope everyone is having a wonderful day so far. I'm here to discuss supporting, improving, and securing education and government IT in the cloud. So starting off with securing your Microsoft 365 data with Rubrik. As you know, Microsoft 365 encapsulates many data sources like SharePoint sites, Exchange, including mailboxes, calendars, and contacts, as well as Microsoft Teams and OneDrive. So M365 is a SaaS solution, but as with many cloud services, the data and information is the responsibility of the customer. So the customer is responsible for protecting that data at the end of the day, and Microsoft's real focus is on providing that infrastructure and availability of these applications. So many people ask, why bother with backups? Well, in fact, Microsoft will tell you right within your services agreement that they recommend backing up your content and data with third-party apps and services as best practice for securing your data, because they know that data loss happens. So, data loss happens no matter where that data lives, whether through accidental deletion or something more malicious like hackers and ransomware, and recovery is the user's responsibility. So the Microsoft 365 protection paradox, as you can see with all these percentages and statistics, increased business critical data has increased drastically over the years, but there's limited last line of defense. 25% of customers and organizations and companies aren't utilizing any backup solutions for their M365 environment, and all of this pertinent information is not backed up. Also, a lot of companies as well are relying on their cloud vendor, which I'll touch on why that can be an issue later on. We provided a solution that can protect your information and ensure that this pertinent data is available. So you may be asking, why does M365 need to be protected? Well, the four key reasons is that accidental deletions happen all the time with users or employees. And then there can also be malicious insiders. So if an employee is terminated, for example, and attempting to delete confidential data before they depart, that can be a major issue and disaster for an organization or company. But the main reason is also malware or ransomware attacks. So M365 has become a top target. Employees unintentionally clicking something they shouldn't have, like phishing attempts, or downloading infected files and accidentally leaking usernames and passwords to sites they thought they could trust but end up not being secure, could raise a major issue for organizations. And then the complexities and gaps in data retention. Microsoft 365 retention policies are difficult to keep up with, let alone manage. And for instance, Exchange Online has a 30-day retention policy after which data will permanently be deleted. For OneDrive, it's around 93 days, and then for deactivated employees, it's only 30 days for their OneDrive account. For SharePoint, again, it's around 93 days, and not only is this complex to manage, but you can't always be sure if your data is recoverable. And any gap in data retention can result in data being permanently lost and unrecoverable, and with the legal requirements, compliance requirements, and access regulations varying between industries and countries, these gaps can result in major compliance violations. So, as you all probably know, Microsoft 365 has seen exponential growth during the COVID pandemic. There's sudden pressure on businesses to go remote and sudden pressure on IT teams to enable their organizations to do so safely and efficiently. So it's no surprise that apps like Microsoft Teams saw 500% growth in daily active users over the course of just 1 year. So you think, new IT landscape with more critical data being stored on remote devices, new data management imperatives, right? But when you look at most organizations that are protecting this data, you see that not many of them are backing it up. In fact, you can see that nearly half the people are relying entirely on their cloud vendor for backup and recovery, and I'll tell you why that is worrying on the next slide. So we have seen instances where Microsoft 365 has suffered ransomware, malicious deletion of files, as well as many incidences where there's inadvertent deletion of business critical data that unfortunately was unrecoverable. So we've seen data that says around 71% of 365 users have experienced an account takeover. So what that is a type of identity theft or fraud, where malicious third party gains access to a user account credentials, something of that sort. And then 81% of users have experienced an email breach. So it's very common nowadays. And analysts are also telling us that 74% of Microsoft 365 users have identified the issue and are evaluating the need for third-party data protection. So unfortunately, if your primary use case is backup and recovery, that's not what Microsoft's native tools were built for. So if you're utilizing these native tools, they can be helpful for some compliance use cases, but they're not real backup. They store data directly on the live production environment with no actual backup to recover from. So if something happens to that production environment, the data will be gone. And even if there is a retained file that you can bring up, you're limited to file-by-file restores and have to go through a tedious, 10-step restore process for each file. And then in addition to the cost of the time you're spending to locate this data, restore this data, or navigate the Microsoft Compliance Center, where all these tools reside, these tools really aren't free. So depending on what license you have, you may need to upgrade to even to access, and that doesn't cover the storage consumed by retaining this data in the Microsoft 365 environment, and it can end up being 200 times more expensive than any solution that leverages lower cost blob storage. So what does Microsoft actually provide? Well, they have that recycle bin capability, so that 30 to 90 days of retention dependent on the application between Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive, Exchange, etc. And then they also do have a litigation hold capability, so this will preserve data for legal requirements. Users can still make changes and delete items, but unaltered copies will be preserved. And then this retains all those contents and copies, including the deleted items from the original versions of modified items. And lastly, they we also provide retention policies to prevent the permanent deletion of data such as files, documents, or emails, and ensure that that information is stored for a mandated period of time. Next, here's just a slide that you can see. There's a lot of steps you have to go through when utilizing the Microsoft e-discovery capability. Can be tedious and very time-consuming. So what we did here at Rubrik is Microsoft and Rubrik together provide a complete protection of your M365 environment. We actually have a wonderful partnership with Microsoft and are one of their largest customers. So Microsoft will provide that security, compliance, and availability piece, and then Rubrik will provide the recovery capabilities. So actually, the Microsoft team collaborated with our engineering team over here at Rubrik to create this solution due to our wonderful partnership with them, and we do have custom abilities and capabilities within our solution that other vendors do not possess. So Rubrik M365 protection. So what Rubrik offers is a 100% SaaS data management solution that's built for backup and recovery. We provide secure offline backups across Exchange Online, OneDrive, SharePoint, and Teams so that you can ensure that critical data is available in the event of data loss, and whether that's accidental deletions or a more malicious event. And it's really easy to get started. So Microsoft 365 protection is delivered as a service via our Polaris platform. Zero infrastructure is required, and it takes 2 steps to get set up, so you don't have to worry about any upgrades, hardware maintenance, or any refreshes. It takes a few clicks to authorize Rubrik with your Microsoft 365 environment, and you can get set up within minutes. It's also really easy to configure, so you don't need to pass any credentials to us. All you need to do is authorize Rubrik to connect to your Microsoft 365 environment, and we'll establish a secure connection automatically. And to configure SLA policies, aka what we call retention policies, all you need to do is state how often you want things to be backed up, so the frequency of the backup, as well as how long you need to keep your data, so the retention of those backups. And Rubrik will take care of everything else on the back end. So the benefits of Rubrik M365 protection: you can use our SLA policy engine to automate protection at scale for any number of users, and you don't have to spend hours of manual effort trying to restore emails or OneDrive folders or files, etc. With Rubrik, recovery and restore takes 3 easy clicks, so you can also avoid having to restore unnecessary data by searching and recovering the exact files or folders you need, or restore in full to any location of your choice. You can also configure role-based access control to enable other users access for self-service restores as well. And finally, the real Rubrik advantage is that you can do this all seamlessly from the same management console as the rest of your environment. So no need to log into separate applications for monitoring or for your team to learn an additional tool. You can extend the same simplicity for on-prem protection to your Microsoft 365 environment. So Rubrik radically simplifies and speeds up this recovery process, as you can see here. A quick 3-step process. So simply all you have to do is utilize Rubrik's predictive search to locate that email or file that you want to recover, select the file along with any others, and then select the restore target. So just in 3 easy steps, your data is back where it belongs, and your team is back to spending time on more strategic projects and pertinent things. So the Rubrik solution provides backup and restore for all M365 applications with integrations capable of restoration at the granular level. So yes, our M365 solution is air-gapped. We have a logically air-gapped solution for our M365 piece. And you do have the capability to restore at the granular level. So let's say you wanted to find a specific file in a folder in your OneDrive. All you have to do is use that predictive search, search the name of that file, and then you can easily recover it to the original user. another user if that employee, let's say, left the company, or download it as a zip file. And then we do provide backup and restoration options for all M365 applications, Jack. And then will we need some setting changes in Teams to enable? No, you do not need to change any of the settings within your Teams application to enable Rubrik implementation. So this will back up any of the chats that multiple users can be a part of, but none of the private messages will be backed up, just because that is a privacy regulation that Microsoft has, so we can't overcome that. But no need to change any of the settings within your Teams app.
That's nice, especially because, yeah, we do have a lot of teams that are on the smaller side.
Yeah.
Okay, and yeah, sorry, we just got a new question in. And oh, you know what? Actually, one of the ones I wanted to see if you had any thoughts on, Patrick had made a comment about the PEBCAC, the problem exists between the keyboard and chair. And I was chatting with a member of your team yesterday, actually, on a tech talk about zero trust security, which I should be on demand shortly, and I highly recommend everyone check out the Rubrik tech talk on zero trust security. And just out of curiosity, I'm wondering if what is the support at Rubrik like in terms of, it sounds like rollout and implementation is pretty simple, and is there any help in terms of training, education, and ways that maybe from a change management perspective, these teams can implement this type of tool?
Yeah, so for our M365 piece specifically, it's very easy to set up and manage, and we can guide you through that process as well. We also do have a free 30-day trial on our website that you can easily sign up for if you want to test out the solution yourself and see it in action. We do have Rubrik University available for any customers if they do have any questions about any of our offerings or how to implement or do any tasks within our interface. And then our support team over here at Rubrik is always available as well. So we actually have a CSAT rating of 98.6%. Our customers are really satisfied with the level of support we can provide. And we're always here to help with any questions or concerns about Rubrik itself, the solution, any workloads, any failed jobs, anything of that sort.
That's huge, especially since, as we chatted about earlier, there's a shortage of people with some of these specific skills. So if the teams in question here are able to rely on that support from Rubrik, that makes a big difference. Deb here is wondering if you could speak a little bit to some of the uniques at Rubrik and what you would say sort of the top top uniques are for your solution.
Yeah, so the main unique differentiator, in my opinion, for our M365 piece is our service health API we're utilizing to ensure that your M365 environment is online and is functioning properly, and it will notify you if there is any sort of outage or if anything is offline. We also do allow for an auto retry mechanism for any failed backups, and then switch between multiple APIs to ensure that your backups are succeeding. We have a wonderful audit and compliance piece that you can easily view any reports from to see if your daily tasks are succeeding, all the backups are healthy and successful, and you don't even have to log into the interface. Let's say you are swamped that day, you have a lot of meetings, you don't have time to check on those backups. You can actually have those reports sent out to your email or your team's email on a daily or weekly basis to ensure that you have all the information you need, but you don't have to spend time logging in. We also do integrate with various different multi-factor authenticators like Duo, Okta, RSA Secure ID, anything that is SAML 2.0 compliant. And then we allow for time-based one-time passcodes natively for any local or AD users to ensure all of the logins to your backup environment are safe and secure. So those are some capabilities, but we have a lot more to highlight too. And if you guys are ever interested, please reach out. I would love to have a great conversation with you.
Those are a lot of really good uniques there. That's a lot of reasons to reach out to Rubrik, and I want to I guess follow up on that. If you sort of had one thing that you would want everyone to walk away from this conversation kind of thinking about or asking themselves what would that be?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I mean, I would say, is your data environment not even just the M365 piece or your cloud workloads? Is it secure? Is there a level of security from ransomware attackers? Are you utilizing the right measures? They're very important things, especially nowadays, since ransomware attacks are occurring all the time. And cyber insurance requirements are rising, and that's really where Rubrik steps in and has cyber resiliency at the top of our minds, because there's so many things to implement, so many different solutions, so many components, and we wanted to simplify that process. So I would love everyone to, think about what their security measures are today.
That's a really great point. And I think we have this tendency now to just start collecting security tools and solutions without necessarily putting the forethought in. And then, we talk about these Frankenstein solutions and it can get really out of hand really fast. So, it's nice to work with a company or like Rubrik that has so many different tools within one that you can kind of consolidate a little bit and not feel so much like you're in a Frankenstein.
Yeah.
Well, I hope we did get to cover everything that you wanted to today. If anyone does have any further questions and wants to dig in a bit more into cloud, I highly recommend reaching out. Is there any first step? You've mentioned getting in touch with yourself. What do you suggest is that first move if somebody's interested in getting involved with Rubrik?
Yeah, you guys, anyone can check out our website. You can request a meeting, a POC. You can see our products and actions and what we have to offer. And yeah, so you can reach out on LinkedIn to anyone at Rubrik, and we'd be more than happy to help.
Yep, I can attest. You guys have an awesome team. Always a pleasure to chat with you. Thank you so much for joining us here today, Shuja. This has just been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of the week.
All right, well, I think that's everything for this session. Keith, I'm going to hand things back on over to you to get a poll question up for us all.
All right. Well, that was an outstanding presentation, Shrija. Thanks so much for that. And also to you, Jess, for leading us through that great Q&A. Lots of good stuff there. And here's the poll question you were talking about, Jess. Now, you've heard a lot about what Rubrik can do for public sector, education, Microsoft 365, and all of that. And so let us know what additional information you'd like from Rubrik to take the next step. Of course, they would be happy to follow up with you ASAP and answer any and all of your questions. Operators are standing by, as they say. So keep voting in that while we get to the next section here, which is the giveaway. We have got some Amazon gift cards for you today. In fact, we have got 3 of them, three $300 gift cards, a big day today. And as Jess mentioned at the beginning, you do have to be present for the entire event to be eligible to win the gift cards. And we have picked our winners for today's event. They are Chris Freeman from South Carolina, Tom Picklesheimer from Utah, and Galen Tom from California. All right. Congratulations to our trio of winners today. We will be in touch very soon to get you your cards. Now, if you like this event, minus the technical issues, remember that Actual Tech Media can do the same for your organization. If you're interested in one of our events, there are a host of topics to choose from, or we can build a custom one just for you. We would be delighted with the opportunity to do just that. So email us at connect@actualtechmedia.com. Important to get that URL right for more information. We also have got something I wanted to tell you about that I think is going to be a lot of fun. It's an intriguing event tomorrow that you might be interested in. It's a panel cast that I will be leading. And in that panel cast, we'll be discussing what separates successful from unsuccessful recoveries following a ransomware attack. And we're also going to discuss ransomware trends and issues of great importance right now. So it's the kind of real world information that is so important to have as we all try to fight this particular plague. It is happening at noon Eastern time tomorrow. And that is, of course, 9 a.m. Pacific time. So I encourage all of you to sign up. This is something I really don't think you're going to want to miss. It's kind of going to be a freewheeling discussion with me and a couple of experts, and I do think you'll get a whole lot out of it. So with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank Rubrik for making this event possible. I want to thank all of you for attending, and especially I want to thank you for your patience while we got through our technical issues. I hope it didn't cause too much distress on your end, but we appreciate you sticking with us through all of this. And that includes today's event, and we will see you soon. Have a great rest of your day.